Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go-to for what you do better than anyone else. Your brilliance is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've secretly been craving to set free, she is in there. And that means you will have to burn some old bridges down. And attracting your people will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to tone it down as a woman with ADHD, it's time to tone your shit all the way the fuck back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility that is something you've been avoiding, but that you truly want. This podcast is about stepping into your upgrade, watering down anything, never change the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved, at least not anymore. In today's episode, you may have noticed last week was not part 4, but this week is. There was a little bit of an audio snafu where basically I recorded the episode and I had no audio. So I released my episode with Dr. Regina last week, and now we are going to land the plane, what everything looks like once you have closed this gap in self-trust and how it gets to feel. And one last thing before we go any further, now that you found me, stick around, follow, subscribe to get that little push notification reminder each week. And once you do that, you have officially joined my girl gang, the Feral Women's Club. Let's do this. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneur, the podcast for my fellow feral online coaches with ADHD. You think you have it, you know you have it, you have some neurodivergence going on, and you refuse to play by the rules. My name is Carrie. I'm your host. I'm the chief weirdo of Carrie Out Loud. And if you are new here and you're here because you know it's time to stop feeling so much brain chaos from happening as often as it does, because sometimes we just can't, and find a clear business growth path for you that is like a full body fuck yes to your brain and your body, you are in the right place. If this episode has an impact on you, please tell me. Shoot me a DM over on Instagram. That's where I hang out. What stood out? Tell me why. I would love to hear that. If you're digging me as a human while you're listening and you want to book a clarity call to see if working together or one-on-one or the Neurospicy Sisterhood, my mastermind, is for you, that link is in the show notes. And I care about one thing as somebody who leads other women with ADHD in business. I care about your success, your results, you getting to where you want to go, and being wealthy as fuck in every sense of that word, whatever it means to you. I do this work for the ripple effect. When I see a woman come into my coaching who is needing to close her self-trust gap, who feels overwhelmed and has an overly complicated business, and she's using all of these normie strategies taped together, and I'm able to show her in real time how she can run her business for her brain, that changes so much in her business, and that ripple effect is something I'll never see, and I love that. So I want to help you close that self-trust gap and close it enough to allow you to truly simplify your business so that it runs in a way that works for your brain and it doesn't keep your nervous system feeling like a shit show all the time. You need to see for a fact that you can be successful. You can be feral. You can be sweary. You can be running a business. You can stay raw. You can be unfiltered. You can have that grit, because it's a good thing, and have success. My ultimate mission really is to help as many of you in the online coaching arena who are neurodivergent become 6- and 7-figure business owners in a way that is sustainable, because burnout is no longer part of your business plan. Okay. So let us get into this final piece here. We have covered a lot in this series. We talked about what the self-trust gap is, why you're experiencing it, where it shows up, learning that the way you investigate things, that your brain is giving you the wrong kind of proof, and how to prove the opposite. Last week, we talked about making those micro commitments to rebuild that self-trust in yourself, just like you would in any other relationship. But today, we are going to talk about what's waiting for you on the other side. This is where I sit now 98% of the time because I'm a human. And we all have circumstances that do not fall into our day-to-day norm, right? Rebuilding self-trust is not just about feeling better. This is not just about being kinder to yourself or having more confidence. This is about becoming truly unshakable, unfuckwithable in your business, in your life, on every single level. And when you trust you, so much changes. Your decision-making speed, your ability to pivot and refine more easily, your willingness to learn the rules and then break them, your willingness to stay your feral ass self while other people play it safe. So in this final episode, we're going to be talking about what your business and life will look like when you trust yourself, how this is going to be really a competitive advantage for you, and the relationship between trusting yourself and staying really true to who you genuinely are inside and out. Plus, I'm going to give you a little practice, a check-in that you can do on, I hate saying the future version of you because it's like we're now and not now people, but the parts of you that have already tapped into that self-trust that we're trying to bring forward. That's really what we're doing, is to connect with that. So let's start with what it looks like on the other side. First, your decision-making speed will change completely, and you will trust your decisions. Right now, when you make a decision, what happens? You research, you analyze, you consume all these YouTube videos, you read blogs, you ask 7 people's opinions who don't know anything about what you're doing. You spiral in that, like, what if I'm wrong? Sometimes for weeks or months. But when you trust yourself, you make the decision. And it isn't because you're 100% certain that it's the right one, because that doesn't exist. Certainty doesn't exist. But this is because you trust yourself to handle whatever happens after the decision. You trust that if something doesn't work right, you'll pivot, you'll tweak, you'll refine. And you also trust that if you fuck up, you'll fix it. You trust that if you are capable of that you will trust that you're capable of navigating uncertainty. And that allows you to move more quickly, less restlessly, and not impulsively. This is all based on you trusting you. The second, you're going to stop asking for fucking permission for everything about everything. When you don't trust yourself, you are going to seek external validation for everything. Is this okay? Does this sound good? Do you think I should do this? This also happens a lot when someone's coming out of burnout, because they got themselves into burnout. And so how can they trust themselves to not go there again? That's another one, a big one, right? But when you trust yourself, you can ask for input, get perspectives, but you don't need permission. You're not waiting for someone else to tell you that it's okay to do the thing that you already know you need to do. You really become an authority. Well, you become the authority in your business. And that's powerful because you're not outsourcing your power anymore. Next, you stop over prepping. Right now, you probably can't just show up and do the thing. You might need a script. You might need to rehearse it. You might need to plan every detail. You might need to account for every possible scenario. Part of that is the fact that you have a Ferrari brain with bicycle brake pads, and just all those thoughts are coming because our brains can be quick. Our brain, words are hard. Our brains work more quickly. As you hear me tripping over my words. But when you trust yourself, you know how to handle it in the moment. You trust your ability to think on your feet or to respond on what's actually happening instead of what you plan for. You can still prep, but you're not over preparing in a way that's trying to control the uncontrollable. I'm going to say that again. You're not over preparing as a way to control the uncontrollable. You're doing it to support yourself, not for like compensating for not trusting yourself. Fourth, you stop second guessing after you decide. You made a decision, you launch the offer, post the content, invest in the thing, the person, the training, etc. And then you let it be done. You're not spiraling. Did I make the right choice? You're not ruminating on what if I waited. You make the call. You trust you made it for a good reason, and you move forward. This does not mean you never reevaluate. This does not mean you take a look at what's, just go blindly and don't pay attention to anything around you. It doesn't mean you change course if new information shows up, if it doesn't apply. And you're not torturing yourself with like this endless second guessing loop because you don't trust you're making a sound decision. So let's talk a little bit about adaptability, because this is where it gets interesting. A lot of people think that trusting in yourself means becoming more rigid. Like, I've decided this is the plan and I am sticking to it no matter what. Also, we're black and white thinkers. So that probably happens to us more than we wish. But this requires you to having adaptability is going to require for you to navigate that change, right? When you trust yourself, you become more adaptable. It requires you to trust that if something doesn't work, that you'll find a new approach. Everything is figure outable. It requires you to trust that you can make tweaks and pivots and nothing is going to fall apart. When you do not trust yourself, change is full of fear, because what if you can't handle it? What if you make the wrong call? What if you go the wrong direction? What if you fuck everything up? So you change the plan, then you resist the change, and then you try to control every variable. And it's not because the plan isn't working, but because change feels too risky and you do not trust yourself to navigate it. Sound familiar? But when you do trust yourself, you pivot a lot more easily. You play, you experiment, you can try something else, see if it works, adjust. You're not attached to being right because you trust yourself that you're a grown ass woman who can self-correct, course correct if needed. How do you think you started a fucking business in the first place? I know you're an established coach, but how do you think you started? You pulled that shit out of your brain and you went, this one. And you got to where you are now. Clearly, you're capable. Clearly, you can pivot, you can course correct, but it's the lack of trust in that. And that could be from a recent diagnosis or identification of neurodivergence. Like, there's a lot of factors that can definitely go into this. So that brings me to the relationship between self-trust and staying true to you, staying your genuine ass feral self, right? A lot of people think that stay feral, when I say that, means be chaotic, impulsive, unstructured. Like, I do whatever I want when I want because I refuse to be controlled. There's a lot to say about that. I do whatever I want because I own my business, but it literally is not about spite or proof, anything that I have anything to prove. That isn't what it means. Feral means you're not domesticated, baby. You're not following the rules just because they're the rules. You're not playing by somebody else's playbook just because you're supposed to. You're curious. You are asking questions. Feral means you're making your own decisions based on what's working for you, not what works for gurus who are talking to the masses, unless that is the type of you want. Okay. So this is not about what works for anybody else but you. It's not about what works for the algorithm or for the expectations of society or what. It is literally what works the way your brain does, the way your life flows, the way your business flows. And anybody who tells you there's only one way to do that, you need to pick your shit up and run far and fast and hard away from those people. Now, doing what works for you in your life and your business means you have to trust yourself to do it. If you don't trust yourself, you need those rules. You always need a formula. You always need that step-by-step plan, because without it, you're terrified you'll fuck up. Sometimes you might. It's part of building a business. It's like natural. I would be shocked. Do you know how many people build businesses who have no hiccups along the way? I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. So Self-trust and staying feral are not opposites. They're besties, they're partners. You can't stay fully feral though until you trust yourself enough to break the rules and take off the fucking training wheels, right? So let's talk about how this will become your advantage in your business. Self-trust. We live in a world that is obsessed with formulas. Do this, do that, then you'll get this result. Follow this framework, implement this strategy, copy my funnel, paste in this, take this, all this normie shit coming at you. And don't get me wrong, frameworks and ways to do things are helpful. Strategies are helpful when they are based on you and your business. The problem is when you're following them because you don't trust yourself to do anything else. That's a huge differentiator, right? When you trust yourself, you can take what works from that framework and leave what doesn't. As I tell my clients, take what you like, leave the rest. I'm always going to give them that high touch guidance, but they're grown-ups and so am I. And I am here to teach them to trust themselves, not to just do everything I say without. My principle really is I'll fish and show you how I fished. You'll fish and I'll watch you fish and I'll give you feedback, then you fish. What that means is like, I'm not trying to have you sit in my lap 24/7, 365. I want to empower you to make these things move easier in your brain and in your body and in your business. In a world where everybody else is following the same playbook, doing it your way, makes you have that competitive advantage. Duh. Your clients are not hiring you because they followed the formula or you followed a formula. They're hiring you for you. That's how I teach you to market anyway. They're hiring you because of how you think, how you show up, how you approach different problems. And the more you trust yourself, the more you-ness that you bring to your business and drip in all over your content and with your ooey gooey awesomeness, the more of that you bring, the more you stand out. The more you stand out, the more your people will see you stand out in neon and everybody else will look at like grayscale. This isn't just about feeling better. This is about your business and your life feeling more like your true, genuine self. And that is what makes you unrepeatable and irreplaceable. Okay, so now I'm going to give you this self-trust check-in. 5 minutes, help you connect with who you are already. It's like way deep down, because really this is you coming back home to you. We hear that phrase all the time, but really that's what it is. It's you before the world really touched you, got to you, told you your brain was wrong or there's something different or divergent in the way you think, and you thinking that there was a problem with that, as opposed to being embraced for it, right? And make one decision today from the place of self-trust. So I want you to find a quiet place, grab your phone, grab your journal, whatever. If you like to physically write, if you like to type, whatever feels best for you. And I want you to set a timer. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about you, the person who fully trusts yourself, that lives inside of you, the one that's on the other side of the self-trust gap. She's the one who really keeps promises to herself. She has evidence, proof of opposite, that she is reliable. Trust your own judgment. Now I want you to ask that version of you, the trustworthy one, the one that you have built these micro trust practices with and really trust your own voice and instinct. And I want you to ask her, right? This isn't future self, higher self. This is the you who trusts you. And again, she's already in there. So you can tap into this right now. What does business feel like for you now that you trust yourself? What decision are you making easily that I'm currently struggling with? What do you wish I knew right now? I love that question. What is one thing I could do today that would move me closer to coming home? I want you to write down whatever comes up. Don't edit it. Don't judge it. Just write it. It may not even make sense. It may just be a bunch of gobbledygook. That's okay. Because there's going to be nuggets in there. Don't edit or judge. And then the most important part of this entire thing is take one of those things, one of the things she said you could do today, and do it. not tomorrow, not next week, today, because that is how you start closing the gap right now, not waiting until you're ready, but making decisions now from the place of trusting the woman already inside you. She's already in there. Start trusting. That, my sweet baby angels, is the final episode of these self-trust series. We've covered what the gap is, how to correct the bias evidence your brain is trying to use against you, how to use micro commitments to rebuild self-trust in you like you would in any relationship, and what it looks like when you get there. And it's not just a nice to have thing. This is an advantage to you competitively in your industry, and it really allows you to stay your full feral self and make you feel very grounded, like your feet are on the ground, but your head is in the clouds, right? So keep doing this work. Keep collecting the proof of opposite. Keep using these micro commitments. Keep checking in way deep down, because you're not fucked up. You're not unreliable. You're not any of the things your brain gremlins try to tell you. It's just a bunch of lies. And with that, I'm going to end today's episode. If you are an online coach or online in-person mentor, service provider who works in some type of coaching capacity, because a lot of service providers do, and you want to trust yourself more deeply so that you can ruthlessly simplify your business and make sure it grows in a way that's sustainable for your brain, get in my universe right now. I got you. And so first, keep up with the latest and greatest. My newsletter, The Frequency, it is exclusively for women in business who think or know they have ADHD. The link is in the show notes, or you can drop the word insider into my DMs on Instagram, and my little fembot will send it to you. And then the second thing you want to do is book your clarity call. We're going to discuss this gap, the simplifying your business for growth, what that looks like to work together. The easiest way is to slide into my DMs on Instagram at Carrie Out Loud, or go into the link in my show notes. It's 30 minutes. It's not a coaching call. I get to know you. I know you want to hear your goals, your desires, and then we can see if we're a match to work together. So that is it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Until next week, I see you. I love you. I'm fucking rooting for you always. Take one of these microscopic steps and do it today. You'll thank yourself for it down the road. I promise. Stay feral. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.